Hello, welcome to our February reveal of our County Line Crafts box. I'm super excited about this month's box. It's a little bit of a different concept than what we've done in the past, and I think you're really gonna like it. So let's go ahead, open up our box and get started. On the inside of your box, you'll have a picture of what the project will look like completed. I forgot to tape it in mine for our tutorial, but yours will have a picture so you know what your project will look like when you should be finished. We have our step-by-step directions. We have a diagram that we will be referring to as we follow along through the directions. We have our paper plate where you're gonna have two, excuse me, you're gonna have two paper plates in your kit this month, because we're going to be mixing some paint colors and I wanted to make sure you had plenty of space for that. You'll have 4 foam wedges, you'll have a little tube of super glue, and you will also have a tube of wood glue that we'll be using. So take those and set them to the side. And then our project this month is a cactus flower. Before you get started, I recommend always covering your work surface. You could use old newspaper. The box that your kit is shipped in is good. Freezer paper, an old tablecloth, just something so that you don't get paint on your table. Right, and I'm gonna follow along the directions just like you would at home. Step 1 says to remove the outer edge of the puzzle and set it to the side. So this is our outer edge. You're gonna remove it and set it to the side. Excuse me. And then you're going to refer to the included diagram of the cactus flower. This is the diagram that we're talking about. And you're going to remove the pieces that are labeled 1. And this is all of the outside pieces. There are 8 of them. The outermost pieces you are going to remove. So do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And I'm going to move my flower over to the side out of my way. This is optional, but I recommend using some masking tape or painter's tape. And you just lay it down on your surface, and then you can stick your pieces to it that you're going to be painting. And it just makes it a little bit easier when you have lots of smaller pieces. It holds them down for you. All right, there we go. And then you're going to need a paper plate, a foam wedge, and the paint container that is labeled 1. Your paint containers have 1, 3, 5, and 7 written on them. So we're going to start with the one labeled number 1. You're going to open up, you're going to take the flat edge of your foam wedge, you're going to dip it in the paint, and then you're going to dab off. I don't know if you guys can see that good, but I have some spots that are like really heavy and thick in my paint, so I'm going to dab off the extra onto my paper plate because you want a nice thin even coat. You don't want a super heavy and thick coat. And then you're going to use an up and down dabby motion to dab your pieces with this color. We don't want to white because you'll get kind of like smeared marks. We're just going to dab it until it's evenly coated. And a thin layer, or a couple of thin layers even, is much better than one super thick heavy layer. We're going to repeat that for every piece that we have pulled out right now. almost done. All right, and then once you have a nice even coat on those, you're gonna take it and set it to the side. This is another way where your masking tape will come in handy, or your painting tape. So you can kind of just pick it up in one set. All right, and now we are going to go to step 2. Step 2 says grab the pieces labeled 2 on the diagram and set them to the side. You'll need them in step 4. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my strip of masking tape and tape my pieces from layer 2. And I'm going to set that over to the side. And then we are moving on to step 3 is get the pieces labeled 3. So we'll get another strip of tape. Again, this is totally optional, not necessary, but I do think that it makes the process a little bit easier and quicker. And we're going to get our layer. For next layer, there's 8 pieces in each layer too. And we'll set that over to the side. And then you're going to need a clean wedge and paint labeled 3. So we're using paint container number 3 now. You're going to open it up, dip your foam wedge in, dab off the extra on your plate so that you've got nice even coverage on your sponge. And then dab up and down and paint your pieces. Remember, a thin coat or even 2 or 3 thin coats is always better than 1 super thick coat. Your pieces will dry faster if you don't do a heavy coat, and it will also look more even, and you won't get like bubbles and stuff like you would get when you did a thick coat. That part is done. We will set these to the side to dry. And then we're moving on to step 4. Grab the pieces you removed in step 2. Using the wedge that you used for the darkest paint in step 1, you're gonna mix a little bit of colors 1 and 3 together and use that color you created to paint these pieces. So I'm gonna use my lighter wedge to get some paint from step 3 out on my plate here. And then I'm gonna stick that wedge back in my paint cup because I'll be using that one again. And then I'm gonna use my dark wedge and dip it in my dark plate and then mix these colors together. And now we've got a new color that's a little bit lighter than that first one, but not quite as light as the second. So this will help give us kind of like that ombre effect on our flower. Jake, hush. Jake. Jake, that's enough. And then we're going to set those to the side to dry. And we are ready for step 5. Remove the pieces labeled 4 and set them aside. You'll need them again in step 7. So get another piece of tape. And we're taking off the next layer of 8 pieces. We'll set that to the side. And then we are ready for step 6 is remove the pieces labeled 5. So that should be our next layer. Oh, that was bad. Don't do what I just did. I know one of my pieces fell, or at least one did. All right, I found one. Hopefully that's the only one that went flying. All right, 1, 2, 4. And as I've said before, learn from my mistakes and don't do Jake. That's enough. That's enough. It's okay. Don't do what I just did. All right, we are on step 8. We have our pieces labeled 7. We need a clean foam wedge. And we need the paint labeled 7. No. We're on 5. I knew that wasn't right. I'm all mixed up. Paint cup number 5, clean foam wedge, dip it in, dab off the excess on your plate, and then paint those pieces. And with each layer that we do, this process is going to go a little bit faster because our pieces get smaller as we work our way down to the middle. And then we'll set those to the side to dry. We are ready for step 7, right? Yes. Using the pieces from step 5 that we pulled off earlier, you are going to, get the foam wedge from step 3. You're going to get a little bit of your number 5 paint on your plate with your number 5 sponge. And then you're going to use your wedge from step 3 to get paint. And you're going to mix those together to create a new color. Dab off the excess on your plate and paint your pieces. And then set those to the side to dry. And we are ready for step 8. Using a clean foam wedge. And I'm kind of running out of room on my plate, so I'm going to start with my second clean plate. You're going to need paint number 7, and you're going to need the center piece from your little puzzle, which is this. You're going to dip your wedge in to your yellow paint, dab off the excess on your plate, and paint yellow. And then set that to the side to dry. And we are ready for step 9. Remove the remaining pieces that are labeled 6. The remaining pieces are actually going to be 2 layers, so you should have a total of 16. And then for this one, we are going to mix paint colors 5 and 7. So I'm going to get some of my paint color 5 on my plate. and then some of 7. We're going to mix those together. Okay, and then we're going to dab up and down on our pieces. And then we're going to set those to the side and let them dry. And we are ready for step 10. We're going to need our base. And you're going to need the outside edge. You want to make sure you have it kind of oriented the correct way. You're going to carefully open up your super glue by twisting on the cap. Excuse me. And then we're going to apply super glue to this piece. You don't want to do super heavy spots. And you don't have to do everywhere. Just want to kind of do some spots around it with thin layers of glue. And we're going to take it and press it on, making sure you've got it lined up good. And then you're just going to want to hold it here for about a minute to help it set. And then once we are done kind of holding this down, we will get our wood glue and start gluing on our little puzzle pieces, starting with the outer edge because those will be the most dry. And we will be using our tube of wood glue for that step. All right, I think that looks good. So I'm going to grab my pieces that go on the outer edge and open up my wood glue. And then we're just going to squeeze and spread a little bit of wood glue around on the back and insert it into its place. Every piece of our flower is a little bit different. No two pieces are the same. So every piece will have a specific spot that it fits in. All right, so layer 1 is done. Now we're going to move on to number 2. And then we are on number 3. I'm really loving the way these colors are blending into each other. And we're on number 4 now. And the next layer. And then I'm going to go ahead and do my centerpiece. And then we have our last layer. This one will be a little bit trickier for me to put on because I've bumped my pieces and got them out of order. So before I put glue on them, I want to make sure I know where the pieces are going on my flower. I had all my pieces. I was so worried that when I bumped my pieces with the tape and got them out of order and dropped one on the floor that I may have dropped another one. But I didn't. I have them all. Yay. Alright, you want to make sure all your pieces are pressed in good. You can put the lid back on your wood glue to save it for a future project if you would like to. You're going to want to let this dry for 24 hours before you hang it up or anything. You could put a command strip on the back and hang it on your wall. You could set it on a like a little easel stand on a bookshelf. I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I love the blend of colors as we move around the flower. If you have any questions, let me know. You can message me on Facebook, on Instagram. You can email us. If you have a friend that would like to sign up, you can ask me, message me for a referral code to give to them. And you and your friend will get $5 off. Well, not actually $5 off. I will Venmo you $5 each for the referral. So if you are a monthly subscriber and you have a friend who would like to subscribe, message me. If your friend signs up for a subscription, you will get $5 Venmo and your friend will also get $5 Venmo too. That offer is good from today, which is January 31st, through the end of February. So February 28th will be the last day for this promotion where you and your friend can both get $5 Venmo money sent to you. I think that's it. Thanks, guys.